Have you ever wondered how life began on Earth? Was it a random event, or was it something far more mysterious and deliberate? The origin of life has intrigued scientists, philosophers, and thinkers for centuries. But what if I told you that the truth may be even stranger than we ever imagined? In this video, we're going to take you on a journey deep into the heart of one of the most profound mysteries of existence: the origins of life. We'll uncover groundbreaking experiments, ancient theories, and shocking discoveries that could change how we view the universe. From complex chemical reactions to mind-blowing revelations, we're about to explore the scientific feats that hold the keys to answering the most fundamental question of all: how did we get here? Was life truly a random accident, or did the universe have a hand in shaping our existence from the very start? What did Earth look like when life first appeared? And what made it possible for a single spark to turn into the living organisms we know today? We're about to dive into a world of strange experiments, ancient chemistry, and incredible revelations. But before we explore the details, let's go back in time to a pivotal moment in 1953, a moment that would change the way we look at life forever. In 1953, two scientists, Stanley Miller and Harold Urey, conducted an experiment that would forever alter our understanding of life's origins. The idea was simple yet revolutionary. They wanted to recreate the conditions of Earth's early atmosphere, how it might have looked billions of years ago, before life had even begun. Picture this: a glass container filled with gases like methane, ammonia, and hydrogen. Gases that could have existed on early Earth, long before oxygen even came into play. To this mixture they added a jolt of electricity, simulating lightning strikes that could have been common in the young, volatile atmosphere. What happened next was nothing short of extraordinary. Experiments. Within just a few days, the experiment produced amino acids, the very building blocks of life. These simple organic compounds, once thought to be incredibly rare and complex, were now forming right before their eyes. Miller and Urey had shown that life's basic ingredients could be created in a laboratory under conditions mimicking early Earth. It was proof that life could emerge from simple chemicals, given the right environment and a bit of energy. This experiment opened the door to an entirely new way of thinking about how life could have started. It showed that the origins of life might not be as miraculous or deliberate as we once thought. Instead, life could have emerged from natural, chemical processes fueled by lightning, heat, and the chemical ingredients available on the young Earth. But the story doesn't end there. The next piece of the puzzle lies in understanding how these simple molecules could have come together to form something more complex, like cells. To answer that, we need to look at the idea of self-replication. In the 1980s, Nobel Prize-winning biologist Francis Crick proposed the concept of the RNA world hypothesis, which suggests that RNA, not DNA, was the first molecule to carry genetic information and replicate itself. Think about how soap works. One part of a soap molecule loves water, and the other part hates it. This odd behavior creates a boundary, or a membrane, that can trap and protect molecules inside. The first cell membranes might have formed in much the same way, trapping these tiny molecules like RNA inside and giving them a safe environment to start replicating. It's as if the molecules needed a home to survive and evolve, and the formation of these early membranes could have been the crucial first step. But here's where things get even more interesting. The way RNA molecules replicate is still a bit of a mystery. How did they begin to copy themselves and pass on information? Scientists still debate this, but there are some clues that might help us answer that question. One promising theory suggests that clay minerals found naturally on Earth could have played a role in jump-starting the replication of RNA. Clay particles can attract and hold RNA molecules, providing them with a stable platform to form and replicate. This theory offers a glimpse into how the first steps toward life's complexity might have happened. This section continues to build the narrative, diving deeper into the complexity of how life could have evolved from simple molecules into more complex forms. It also raises the mystery of RNA replication, keeping the viewer intrigued. Let me know if you want to proceed further. As we continue on this journey, let's dive even deeper into the potential mechanisms behind these early molecules. One of the most intriguing theories comes from the idea that life began with a molecule that could both store information and replicate itself. RNA. This brings us to the RNA world hypothesis, which has gained traction over the years. According to this hypothesis, RNA was the first molecule capable of storing genetic information and catalyzing its own replication. But this is where it gets really exciting. Experiments in recent years have shown that basic molecules could form RNA nucleotides under conditions simulating the early Earth. In 2009, a groundbreaking experiment by John Sutherland and his team demonstrated that under ultraviolet UV light, simple compounds found in the early Earth could form the building blocks of RNA. This experiment gave a huge boost to the RNA world hypothesis and showed that it was scientifically possible for life to have started from simple molecules like these. Now think about what this discovery could mean. If RNA molecules could have formed naturally, then they could have played a pivotal role in the origins of life. The ability to store genetic information and replicate that information is what makes life life. And with this discovery, we're closer than ever to understanding how life might have begun from the simplest of molecules. But what comes next in this chain of events? How did RNA evolve to form more complex life forms, like the cells we know today? The transition from simple RNA molecules to fully functioning cells is still a major mystery, but scientists are piecing together clues that could reveal the next chapter in this extraordinary story. This section introduces deeper scientific theories around RNA and builds upon previous discoveries. It provides a fascinating twist by bringing in recent experiments that support the RNA world hypothesis and keeps the audience engaged with the question of how life transitioned from molecules to cells. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. But here's where things take an even more mysterious turn. Despite our progress in understanding how life could have started from simple molecules, there's still a major question that lingers. How did these molecules evolve into the first living cells? It's one of the most fundamental puzzles in the study of life's origins. The transition from molecular building blocks to functioning, self-replicating cells is a monumental leap, and it's still something that science is trying to piece together. Imagine this. Small molecules like RNA and amino acids floating in the primordial oceans could have formed simple structures. Tiny bubbles, if you will. These bubbles, known as protocells, might have acted as primitive cell membranes. They could have protected the molecules inside from harsh environmental conditions, while providing a stable environment for them to interact and replicate. This early form of cellular life would have been incredibly simple, but it could have been the first step towards more complex organisms. And then there's the idea of natural selection in play here. As the molecules inside these protocells began to replicate and evolve, those that were more efficient at replicating and surviving would have been passed on to future generations. It's a gradual process of trial and error, but it's also a process that has led to the astounding complexity of life that we see today. This gradual buildup of complexity is what makes the story of life's origins so fascinating. From simple molecules to protocells, and eventually to fully functioning, living cells, each step represents a breakthrough in the evolution of life. But the real question remains, what were the exact steps that allowed molecules to transition into self-sustaining life forms? This section keeps the suspense high, posing a question that will keep viewers engaged while explaining the theory of protocells and the gradual process of complexity in life's origins. It touches on the mystery of how simple molecules evolved into the first cells, encouraging the audience to think about the unanswered questions in the scientific community. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. Now let's take a step back and reflect on something bigger, implications of what we've just explored. When we look at the origins of life, we're not just studying biology, we're also diving into the very nature of existence itself. The story of how life began is not just a scientific mystery. It's a profound exploration of who we are and how we fit into the grand scheme of the universe. Think about this. The elements that made up the molecules that eventually became life didn't just originate from Earth. They came from the stars. Yes, we're made of stardust. Every atom in our bodies was once part of a distant star that exploded in a supernova, sending those elements across the cosmos to eventually form planets like ours. It's incredible to think about how everything we are has cosmic origins. Life on Earth, in all its complexity, is just a tiny fragment of a much larger, universal story. This cosmic connection to our origins puts things into perspective. The very atoms that make up our bodies were once part of stars that lived and died long before Earth even existed. Understanding this brings us closer to the idea that we are not just products of Earth, but products of the universe itself, connected to every other living thing through time and space. So the next time you look at the night sky, remember that the stars aren't just distant points of light. They're the ancestors of everything around you, of you and me. And as we dig deeper into the origins of life, it's not just about understanding science, it's about understanding our place in this vast and beautiful universe. This section aims to evoke a sense of wonder and emotional connection, tying the scientific discoveries back to larger philosophical themes. It emphasizes the cosmic perspective of life's origins, reinforcing the idea that we are not just creatures of Earth, but part of a much bigger cosmic story. Let me know when you're ready for the final part. But here's the thing. All of these discoveries, theories, and experiments don't quite answer the ultimate question we've all been grappling with. How did these simple molecules form the very first cells? And how did those cells evolve into complex organisms capable of life as we know it today? 4. We've covered how basic molecules, like amino acids, formed in early Earth's primordial soup. We've seen how simple compounds could evolve into more complex molecules like RNA and DNA. But now we need to ask, how did all of this come together to create the first living cell? How did something as simple as a collection of molecules transform into a living, breathing organism capable of reproduction and evolution? Here's where things get even more fascinating. Imagine a bubble in the ocean, a tiny droplet of liquid surrounded by a membrane. This isn't just any ordinary bubble, it's the first cell membrane. This simple, self-assembled structure may have been the cradle of life, allowing molecules to come together, protected within a membrane, forming the earliest forms of life. These protocells, primitive, self-replicating structures, are likely the bridge between non-living chemistry and living organisms. But how did they evolve? Only Verret. How did they go from these basic structures to becoming the sophisticated organisms we see today? This is where the true mystery begins, and it's a question that scientists are still actively trying to answer. As we dig deeper into this mystery, one thing is clear. Life is incredibly resilient. It found a way to emerge and evolve under the harshest conditions on Earth. And understanding how life began from a single molecule to a complex organism is one of the greatest challenges and most exciting areas of scientific discovery. This section heightens the suspense, posing the unanswered questions that leave viewers eager to find out more. It introduces the idea of protocells and their importance in the evolutionary process, while keeping the mystery of life's true origins at the forefront. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. At this point, we've explored the origins of molecules and how they combine to form the building blocks of life. But the question still looms. How did these molecules, trapped inside protocells, form the complexity of life we know today? How did simple molecules evolve into multicellular organisms capable of all the incredible processes of life? Metabolism, reproduction, and adaptation. Well, the next step in this mind-blowing journey takes us into the depths of genetic evolution. Let's talk about DNA, the molecule that holds the blueprint for every living organism. How did DNA evolve from simpler molecules like RNA? How did it gain the complexity and precision it holds today? This is where we step into some of the most groundbreaking theories in the field of biology. One such theory is the RNA world hypothesis, which suggests that RNA, an incredibly versatile molecule, could have been the first self-replicating molecule. Unlike DNA, which is mainly a genetic storage molecule, RNA can both store genetic information and catalyze chemical reactions. It's possible that, in the early stages of life's development, RNA molecules were the first to replicate and evolve before the arrival of DNA. What's truly fascinating is that experiments conducted in recent years have supported this idea. In 2009, John Sutherland and his team showed that under certain conditions, simple molecules could form RNA nucleotides, building blocks of RNA, when exposed to ultraviolet light. This experimental discovery provided key evidence that RNA could have played a central role in the origins of life, potentially laying the foundation for DNA's eventual emergence. But here's the kicker. While RNA was likely the first to store and replicate genetic material, the switch to DNA didn't happen overnight. This transition was one of the most important steps in the evolution of life, allowing organisms to store more genetic information more efficiently, and leading to the incredible diversity of life we see today. So now, we have to ask, if RNA was the precursor to DNA, how did the first DNA molecules form, and what drove the transition from one to the other? This is where the mystery deepens. But the evidence we've uncovered so far suggests that life's origin wasn't just a random series of events. It was a series of delicate, purposeful steps. In this section, the script delves into the complexity of genetic evolution, explaining how RNA might have been the first self-replicating molecule, and how DNA eventually took over. It adds scientific depth while maintaining the narrative tension and intrigue. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. Now that we've discussed the critical transition from RNA to DNA, we find ourselves at another pivotal point in the development of life, the formation of the first true cells. This is the ultimate leap, from simple molecules replicating in tiny pockets of chemical reactions to fully organized, functioning entities that could carry out life processes. But how did this happen? Imagine, if you will, tiny droplets in a primordial soup, suspended in the vastness of the early Earth's oceans. These droplets, known as protocells, were the precursors to real, living cells. They weren't alive in the sense we understand it today, but they had the essential ingredients: a membrane, some basic molecules, and the beginnings of a genetic code. What they lacked was the crucial piece, the ability to maintain and replicate that information over generations. This is where the formation of cell membranes comes into play. The process was remarkably simple, yet profound. Scientists have discovered that under the right conditions, certain molecules spontaneously form membrane-like structures, much like soap bubbles. These molecules have two distinct sides. One side loves water, hydrophilic, and the other side hates it, hydrophobic. When placed in water, these molecules naturally arrange themselves into a double layer, creating a barrier that isolates the inside from the outside world, just like the cell membranes of living organisms today. Think of it this way. Imagine a soap bubble, where the water-loving part of the molecule faces the water on the outside, and the water-hating part faces inward, away from the water. This simple mechanism is the foundation for the complex membranes that protect and organize every living cell today. These protocells, now with a rudimentary membrane, were on their way to becoming fully functional cells. But even with this membrane in place, these protocells still weren't fully alive. They needed more than just a membrane. They needed the machinery to replicate, grow, and evolve. Here's where the next breakthrough comes in: the emergence of self-replication. The building blocks that we previously discussed, amino acids, RNA, and DNA, needed to form the intricate network of proteins and enzymes that could power these protocells. Without this, replication would have been impossible, and life would never have taken off. First, self-replicating molecules had a breakthrough moment, sparking a chain reaction that led to the complexity of life. But the formation of these protocells, and their eventual transformation into fully functioning cells, wasn't instantaneous. It was a long, gradual process, spanning millions of years, filled with experimentation and evolution. And each step, each trial and error, brought life closer to the complexity we see today. This section dives into the concept of protocells, the formation of the first cell membranes, and the crucial step of self-replication. It highlights the complexity of life's origins while keeping the tone curious and engaging. Let me know when you're ready for the next part. As we move forward, let's pause for a moment to reflect on the incredible journey we've witnessed so far. From the spark of life in the Miller-Urey experiment to the formation of self-replicating molecules and the first protocells, the path to life's complexity was paved with discovery and experimentation. But here's the big question that still remains. How did these protocells evolve into the vast diversity of life we see today? The transformation from simple molecules to full-fledged cells marked the start of evolutionary processes that would eventually lead to the staggering complexity of life forms that dominate our planet. But evolution is not a quick, smooth process. It's a slow, messy experiment with countless twists and turns, driven by mutation, natural selection, and environmental pressures. It's at this point in our story that we need to introduce the concept of genetic evolution. Once cells had the basic machinery to replicate and pass on genetic information, they could undergo mutations. These mutations, or changes in genetic material, would eventually lead to genetic diversity, a fundamental component of evolution. But how did this genetic diversity lead to more complex life forms? Let's consider the process of natural selection. Change. In an environment full of limited resources, organisms that were better suited to their surroundings had a greater chance of survival and reproduction. Over time, these beneficial traits became more common in the population. It's this slow accumulation of advantageous traits over countless generations that ultimately led to the diversification of life. For example, early cells that could better utilize available resources, like food molecules or sunlight, would have had a higher chance of surviving, reproducing, and passing on these beneficial traits. As the environment changed, new challenges arose, pushing life to adapt in ways we couldn't have predicted. Some cells became more complex, forming multicellular organisms. Others evolved into completely new forms of life, like the first animals and plants. Imagine the impact of life's first innovation, the development of specialized structures within cells that could perform specific tasks. This is the birth of complexity. From these humble beginnings, simple organisms evolved into the intricate, highly specialized life forms we see today. The journey from single-celled organisms to complex life forms like plants, animals, and even humans wasn't just about the survival of the fittest. It was about adaptation, innovation, and the slow accumulation of success stories across generations. But the story doesn't end here. While cells evolved into complex organisms, there's still one last layer to this narrative: the rise of consciousness. How did something as simple as a cell evolve into creatures with the ability to think, reason, and interact with the world in complex ways? What sparked the emergence of minds capable of shaping the course of life on Earth? Let's take a step back and explore how consciousness could have emerged from the very foundations of life. This is where things get even more fascinating, and the line between science and philosophy starts to blur. This section introduces genetic evolution, natural selection, and the complexity that emerged from simple cells. It ties the evolution of life back to the initial process of cellular adaptation and diversification. It also sets up an intriguing philosophical question about the origins of consciousness, adding another layer to the story. Let me know if you're ready for the final part. Now that we've seen how life evolved from simple molecules into complex organisms, we need to address one of the most profound questions of all. What was the ultimate driving force behind this complexity? How did simple cells transform into sentient beings capable of thinking, feeling, and interacting with the world? To answer this, we have to venture into the realm of consciousness. It's an area that, until recently, was considered more philosophical than scientific. But new breakthroughs in neuroscience, biology, and psychology have begun to shed light on how consciousness might have emerged from simple biological processes. And while we don't have all the answers, there are some compelling theories. One popular theory is that consciousness evolved as a survival mechanism. In a world full of dangers, the ability to be aware of one's surroundings, plan for the future, and make decisions that affect survival could have provided a massive evolutionary advantage. Imagine early creatures who could sense danger, anticipate where food would be, or navigate their environment more. Effectively, they were more likely to survive, reproduce, and pass on their genetic material. As life grew more complex, so did the brain. The development of specialized neural circuits and the ability to process information quickly became crucial. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for higher-order thinking, planning, and decision-making, became more developed, leading to creatures capable of reasoning, problem-solving, and eventually forming social structures. Yet the emergence of consciousness is not just about survival. There's a deeper, more existential question at play. As life became more complex, organisms began to experience their existence. They began to be aware of themselves in the context of the universe. This awareness sparked a whole new level of complexity, the development of emotions, thought, and identity. As animals evolved, they developed not only physical tools to survive, but psychological tools to navigate the world. This gave rise to self-awareness and the ability to reflect on one's own existence. Over time, this led to the development of culture, language, and the deep sense of meaning we see in humans today. But the journey of life doesn't stop at consciousness. In fact, it's just the beginning. Human beings have reached a level of complexity where we can create technologies, manipulate the environment, and shape the course of evolution itself. This raises another profound question. What's next for life on Earth? Will we continue evolving, or will we take control of our own future through technology, artificial intelligence, and genetic engineering? This is where the story comes full circle. Life, which began with a spark of electricity in a glass container billions of years ago, has now reached the point where we're not only studying our origins, but also pondering our future. The very same forces that led to the formation of the first cells are now guiding us to explore new frontiers, like space travel and artificial life. But no matter where we go or what we achieve, it's important to remember that we're all connected to that first spark of life. Every living being, every plant, animal, and human shares the same fundamental origin, the very molecules that formed in that first experiment. As we look toward the future, we can't help but reflect on the miraculous journey that brought us here. This section explores the philosophical and scientific aspects of consciousness and self-awareness, linking it to the evolutionary process. It provides a thought-provoking reflection on how consciousness emerged and how humans are now at a point where we're exploring the next step in evolution, both biologically and technologically. Let me know if you're ready for the final part. As we conclude this journey into the origins of life and the evolution of consciousness, we're left with a profound understanding of how everything is interconnected. From the simplest molecules in a glass container to the complexity of human consciousness, the story of life is a story of incredible transformation, innovation, and unimaginable possibilities. The more we discover, the more we realize how little we know. Each breakthrough leads to more questions, propelling us forward into the unknown. But one thing is certain. Our exploration of life's beginnings and evolution has opened doors to fields we never thought possible. Artificial intelligence, gene editing, even space exploration. The quest to understand life's origins is more than just scientific curiosity. It's a quest to understand who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. As we continue to uncover the mysteries of the universe, we can't help but wonder, will we ever fully understand the complexity of life? Or is it a journey that will never truly end? One thing's for sure, the answers we seek will continue to shape our future, and every discovery will lead us closer to the ultimate truth about our place in the cosmos. But the journey doesn't have to stop here. If you've been fascinated by the journey we've taken, there's so much more to explore. Dive deeper into the theories of evolution, the mysteries of consciousness, or the role of technology in shaping life as we know it. Click on the next video to continue exploring these fascinating topics. And don't forget to subscribe for more insights into the mysteries of the universe. After all, the story of life is far from over, and the next chapter is just waiting to be written. In this final section, the script ties everything together by reflecting on the vastness of the journey from the origin of life to human consciousness and its future implications. It closes with a thought-provoking question, keeping the audience engaged and encouraging them to continue exploring related content. The call to action reinforces the idea that there's much more to learn, making the viewer feel compelled to stay connected with the channel. Ever wondered how life first sparked on Earth, millions of years ago, in a seemingly lifeless, empty space? Imagine a time when the Earth was nothing but a barren, fiery planet, constantly bombarded by meteors from the vastness of space. No plants, no animals, just chaos, given ground. Yet, against all odds, life found a way to begin. But how? What happened that turned a lifeless rock into a thriving world? Today we dive deep into one of the greatest mysteries of our existence, the origins of life on Earth. Join us as we uncover the incredible journey that led to the life we know today. How did life begin on Earth? It's a question that has baffled scientists, philosophers, and thinkers for centuries. Despite all the progress in science and technology, the origin of life remains one of the most profound mysteries of our existence. Did life appear by chance, or was it the result of a carefully orchestrated process? Was it a series of unlikely events, or the inevitable outcome of the right conditions? And if we can figure out how life began here, could we find answers to whether life exists elsewhere in the universe? The quest to understand our origins is far from over, and today we take a closer look at the various theories that have emerged to explain how life might have first started on Earth. Now let's take a step back and imagine Earth in the grand scheme of the universe. Over 4.5 billion years ago, our planet was nothing like the lush, vibrant world we know today. Picture a fiery, molten rock, surrounded by violent storms and constant bombardment from meteors. Earth was still in its infancy, forming from cosmic dust and gas, struggling to find its place in the vast, dark expanse of space. It wasn't just a lifeless rock. It was a world in the making, a world where life was about to take its first breath. But how did such a hostile environment give birth to something as complex and fragile as life? That's what we're here to find out. From chaos and destruction, could the perfect conditions for life have emerged? Earth wasn't always the blue and green planet we know today. Then rain. In its earliest days, it was a violent, swirling mass of molten rock, gas, and dust. Formed from the remnants of the same exploding stars that created the rest of the solar system, Earth began as a chaotic ball of heat and energy. Gravity pulled the debris together, and over millions of years, it began to cool, forming a solid crust. Yet, despite the cooling surface, Earth's atmosphere was still filled with gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and ammonia, far from the breathable air we enjoy today. There was no sign of life, no oceans, no plants, just a hot, dangerous environment. But in this hostile setting, something extraordinary was about to happen. The very conditions that seemed uninhabitable were setting the stage for life to emerge. As Earth began to cool, the surface was far from a peaceful place. Volcanoes erupted violently, sending clouds of ash and gas into the sky, while lightning crackled across the atmosphere, creating constant storms. The oceans, if they existed at all, were still in their infancy, vast and turbulent. The planet was a furnace, constantly bombarded by meteorites and comets. The air was thick with toxic gases, and the ground was nothing but a lava-filled wasteland. Yet, in this extreme environment, something remarkable began to unfold. Though Earth seemed inhospitable, the raw energy in the air and oceans created the perfect conditions for a crucial process to take place, one that would eventually lead to life itself. But how could life emerge in such a place, where survival seemed impossible? Amidst the chaos of early Earth, something incredible was happening on a microscopic scale. And the intense heat from volcanoes, the electric sparks from lightning, and the vast oceans filled with chemicals created what scientists call a chemical soup. In this soup, simple molecules began to form amino acids, proteins, and lipids, the very building blocks of life. These molecules are the foundation of everything we know as life today. Imagine tiny, invisible particles coming together, guided by the forces of nature, to form the ingredients that would one day create living organisms. But this wasn't life yet. These molecules were just the raw materials. The real question is, how did they evolve from simple chemicals into something far more complex, capable of replication and growth? That's where the story gets even more fascinating. One of the most famous theories about how life began comes from the idea that lightning could have sparked the first steps toward life. In the 1950s, two scientists, Stanley Miller and Harold Urey, conducted an experiment that would forever change our understanding of life's origins. They simulated early Earth conditions, gases like methane, ammonia, and hydrogen, and then they added electrical sparks to mimic lightning. The result? A variety of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, which are essential for life. This groundbreaking experiment suggested that lightning could have provided the energy needed to form these crucial molecules. Could it be that Earth's violent storms were the spark that ignited the first signs of life? The idea that a flash of lightning could have created the very components of life is both exciting and mysterious. But was it only lightning, or were there other factors at play? While lightning may have played a role in the creation of life's building blocks, some scientists propose an entirely different theory, one that suggests life began deep beneath the ocean's surface, near hydrothermal vents. These vents, located on the ocean floor, release hot, mineral-rich water from Earth's core, creating an environment full of energy and chemicals. Here, in the complete darkness of the ocean depths, life could have first emerged. The heat from the vents, combined with the chemicals like hydrogen sulfide, may have acted as the perfect energy source for creating life. Scientists believe that the minerals present near these vents could have helped molecules stick together and form complex structures, eventually leading to the first living cells. Imagine the depths of the ocean, where no sunlight reaches, but life thrives in a hidden, mysterious world. Could it be that life on Earth began in these ancient, underwater environments, far from the violent storms on land? Could life have arrived on Earth from space? The theory of panspermia suggests that the building blocks of life, or even microscopic life itself, might have been carried to Earth by meteorites or comets. Over the billions of years of Earth's existence, it's possible that these space rocks collided with our planet, delivering essential organic molecules like amino acids, or even the seeds of life from other parts of the solar system. Some scientists believe that life may not have originated here at all, but instead could have been seeded from another planet or moon in the cosmos. The idea that life could travel across the universe on a comet or asteroid opens up mind-boggling possibilities. Could we be the descendants of an ancient, far-off world? Or was Earth truly the birthplace of life, with life's building blocks arriving from the cosmos? As the building blocks of life, like amino acids and simple sugars, accumulated, they didn't just float around aimlessly. Over time, these molecules began to combine in increasingly complex ways. Simple molecules joined together to form larger structures, like proteins and nucleic acids. One key player in this chemical evolution was RNA. Unlike DNA, which carries genetic information, RNA has the ability to replicate itself, a critical step toward life's beginnings. This ability to self-replicate is considered one of the most important features of life. Perhaps life began with RNA as the first molecule of biological life, laying the foundation for everything that followed. Imagine that simple molecules, like tiny building blocks, slowly coming together to create something capable of copying itself, beginning the process of life as we know it. Building upon the idea of self-replicating molecules, scientists developed the RNA world hypothesis, which proposes that RNA, not DNA, was the first molecule that carried genetic information. In this theory, RNA molecules were the earliest forms of life, acting as both genetic material and a catalyst for chemical reactions. Unlike DNA, RNA can copy itself, which makes it a strong candidate for being the first replicating molecule. In this early world, RNA molecules may have formed the first rudimentary life forms by replicating themselves, creating more RNA chains and gradually evolving into more complex structures. Imagine a world where the first signs of life weren't cells or organisms, but tiny strands of RNA, replicating and evolving, laying the groundwork for all life forms that followed. This theory hints at a time when life was much simpler than what we see today, a time when molecular chains could change the course of Earth's history. As RNA molecules replicated and evolved, they began to form more complex structures. But life as we know it requires more than just self-replicating molecules. It needs cells. The leap from simple molecules to the first true cells is one of the most profound steps in the story of life. Scientists believe that these early RNA molecules eventually became enclosed in lipid membranes, forming primitive cells. These membrane-bound structures provided a safe environment where the molecules could continue their replication and evolve further. These early cells, though simple, had the ability to grow, replicate, and respond to their environment, traits that are the hallmarks of life. Imagine, for the first time, the formation of tiny, self-contained units, where life could evolve in its most basic, cellular form. It was here, inside these early cells, that life began to make the leap from mere molecules to the more complex life forms we would come to know. Once simple molecules formed into cells, life began to take a more defined shape. These early cells were microscopic, basic, and far from the complexity of the life forms we know today. But they held the key to everything that came next. These first cells, known as prokaryotes, were single-celled organisms that could carry out all the essential functions of life: metabolism, replication, and response to their environment. They absorbed nutrients from their surroundings, produced energy, and passed on their genetic material to the next generation. Though simple, they were incredibly resilient, and they laid the groundwork for all complex life on Earth. Imagine, for the first time, a self-sustaining system, a tiny living cell capable of reproducing and thriving in an ever-changing world. These cells were the foundation upon which all life forms, from bacteria to humans, would eventually evolve. As these first cells continued to replicate and evolve, they began to diversify. Over millions of years, natural selection shaped them, adapting them to different environments and challenges. These early organisms, though simple, started to develop a variety of forms, each better suited to their. Some became specialized to live in extreme environments, like deep-sea vents or hot springs, while others thrived in more temperate waters. This process of evolution, driven by small, gradual changes in genetic material, began the journey of life toward complexity and diversity. Imagine a time when the world was teeming with microscopic life, each cell a unique experiment in survival. These tiny organisms were the ancestors of all the life forms that would follow, each contributing to the ever-growing web of life on Earth. Over millions of years, evolution became the guiding force that shaped life on Earth. The process of natural selection acted on the variations within species, selecting the traits that were best suited for survival and passing them on to the next generation. This relentless cycle of change and adaptation gave rise to an astonishing variety of organisms, each uniquely suited to its environment. The simple, single-celled organisms that first populated the Earth slowly evolved into more complex creatures, each step in the evolutionary chain building on the successes of the previous one. From microscopic bacteria to the first multicellular organisms, evolution was the invisible hand that sculpted the natural world. Imagine life, like a grand masterpiece, slowly taking shape over eons. Each organism a brushstroke in the incredible story of Earth's biodiversity. Through this process, nature's brilliance unfolded, leading to the complex ecosystems we see today. About 2.4 billion years ago, Earth underwent a dramatic transformation, the Great Oxygenation Event. Before this, Earth's atmosphere was a toxic mix of gases, and life on the planet had no access to the oxygen we take for granted today. But then, something incredible happened. Tiny, photosynthetic organisms like cyanobacteria began to harness the power of sunlight to produce oxygen as a byproduct of their metabolism. Over millions of years, these microorganisms flooded the atmosphere with oxygen, slowly transforming Earth's environment. This oxygen revolution not only changed the air we breathe, but also paved the way for the evolution of more complex life. Imagine an Earth where oxygen was almost non-existent. And then suddenly, it began to build up, allowing new life forms to evolve, ones that could breathe it in and thrive. The oxygenation of Earth's atmosphere set the stage for the explosion of life that would follow. As oxygen began to accumulate in the atmosphere, life on Earth was poised for a major leap. Around 1.5 billion years ago, cells began to collaborate in ways that would forever change the course of evolution. Some single-celled organisms started to form partnerships, grouping together to create multicellular organisms. These simple colonies of cells evolved into more complex beings, where each cell specialized in performing specific functions. This transition from single-celled to multicellular life was a groundbreaking moment in Earth's history. It allowed organisms to grow larger, live longer, and evolve into more intricate forms. Imagine cells working together as parts of a greater whole, creating a new level of biological complexity. Multicellularity became the foundation for all future life forms, from simple algae to plants, animals, and eventually humans. Life, once simple and isolated, had now entered a new phase of complexity, setting the stage for the incredible diversity of life that would follow. About 540 million years ago, Earth experienced one of the most extraordinary events in the history of life, the Cambrian explosion. During this period, life on Earth exploded into a dazzling array of complex organisms. Within a relatively short span of time, geologically speaking, multicellular life forms evolved rapidly, giving rise to most of the major animal groups we recognize today. Fossils from this time show a dramatic increase in the diversity and complexity of life, with creatures that were more intricate than anything seen before. From tiny arthropods to early vertebrates, the Cambrian explosion marked the birth of many of the fundamental body plans that form the blueprint for all animals. Imagine a time when the oceans were suddenly teeming with creatures of all shapes and sizes, each one evolving to fill a different ecological role. This explosion of life would set the stage for the complex ecosystems we see on Earth today, paving the way for the rise of plants, land animals, and eventually humans. Despite the explosion of life during the Cambrian period, survival on early Earth was no easy feat. Life forms faced constant challenges from the environment, extreme climates, shifting seas, and the relentless pressure of predators. The Earth's ecosystems were still in their infancy, and competition for resources was fierce. Every organism had to adapt quickly to survive, and many failed. Natural disasters, like volcanic eruptions or ice ages, wiped out entire species, forcing others to evolve or perish. The harsh realities of life meant that only the most resilient organisms could thrive. Imagine an early Earth where every living thing was locked in a constant struggle to survive, evolve, and secure its place in the world. Yet despite the adversity, life found a way to persist, continually adapting to an ever-changing planet. This battle for survival would become the driving force behind the relentless evolution of life on Earth. Fast forward to around 230 million years ago, and Earth entered a new chapter in its story. The Age of Dinosaurs, the Tommy. These towering giants would dominate the planet for over 160 million years, ruling both land and sea. At first, dinosaurs were small and relatively unremarkable, but as time passed, they evolved into some of the most extraordinary creatures to ever walk the Earth. From the massive, long-necked sauropods to the ferocious Tyrannosaurus rex, dinosaurs became the dominant life forms, reshaping ecosystems and altering the planet's landscape. Their rise was fueled by a changing climate and the evolution of new, specialized traits, such as the development of feathers, the ability to regulate body temperature, and the emergence of flight. Imagine a world where giant creatures roamed, each one playing a role in the balance of nature. The reign of the dinosaurs was a time of incredible diversity, with life on Earth reaching unimaginable proportions, from the smallest insect to the largest predator. Throughout Earth's history, life has faced cataclysmic challenges, mass extinctions that wiped out vast amounts of biodiversity. The most famous of these is the asteroid impact that ended the reign of the dinosaurs about 66 million years ago. This event, known as the Cretaceous-Paleogene (KPG) extinction, drastically altered Earth's climate, causing wildfires, tsunamis, and a nuclear winter effect that blocked out sunlight for months. Yet, after the devastation, life found a way to rebound. While the dinosaurs perished, mammals, small and unassuming at the time, began to thrive, filling the ecological niches left behind. In the wake of extinction, life showed an incredible resilience, adapting and evolving to form entirely new ecosystems. Imagine a planet where nearly all life on land disappears, only for new species to emerge and take their place. Extinction events may have been devastating, but they also paved the way for the next chapter in the evolution of life. Amidst the unfolding story of life on Earth, one species began to emerge with the capacity to ask profound questions about its existence: humans. Around 7 million years ago, our ancestors began to diverge from the apes, starting a slow and remarkable journey toward modern Homo sapiens. Early humans were small, simple creatures, but as they evolved, they developed larger brains, complex tools, and the ability to communicate. Over time, they spread across the globe, adapting to diverse environments and developing unique cultures. What sets humans apart is not just our ability to survive, but our capacity for self-reflection and inquiry. We began to wonder, how did life begin? From simple primates to sophisticated beings capable of shaping the planet, humans have played a pivotal role in the history of life on Earth. Imagine how far we've come from the earliest hominids to modern humans, with our ability to create, discover, and understand the universe around us. For centuries, humans have pondered the origins of life, and our understanding has evolved dramatically. In ancient times, many cultures believed life was the result of divine creation, a mystery only the gods could explain. But as civilizations advanced, so did our ideas about life's origins. Ancient philosophers like Aristotle began to question life's beginnings, and over time, scientists like Darwin proposed theories of evolution, explaining how life evolved gradually through natural selection. With the development of modern science, new insights have emerged, from the discovery of DNA to the understanding of molecular biology. Today, we have a more refined understanding of life's origins, but many questions remain. How did the first living cells form? Was life inevitable, or was it a series of fortunate accidents? Our evolving theories have brought us closer to answers, but the full mystery of life's origins still eludes us. From mythology to science, humanity's search for understanding has been a journey of discovery and wonder. Today we have the tools to explore life's origins in ways that previous generations could only dream of. With the advent of modern technology, from advanced microscopes to genetic sequencing, scientists are uncovering more about how life began on Earth. One of the most groundbreaking tools in understanding life's origins is the study of DNA, which allows us to trace the evolution of species back to their most ancient ancestors. We've also begun studying extreme environments on Earth, places like deep-sea hydrothermal vents and acidic hot springs, where life thrives in conditions once thought to be too harsh. These studies give us clues about how life could have emerged in similarly hostile environments billions of years ago. And space exploration has added a new dimension to our search, with missions to Mars and other planets aiming to uncover whether life could exist or may have once existed beyond Earth. Imagine the future possibilities as technology continues to unlock the deepest mysteries of our past and expand our understanding of life's beginnings. As we learn more about the origins of life on Earth, another tantalizing question arises. Could life exist elsewhere in the universe? With billions of stars and planets spread across the cosmos, many scientists believe it's possible that life exists beyond Earth. The search for extraterrestrial life has become a central part of scientific exploration. Missions to Mars have revealed evidence of ancient water flows, suggesting that the planet may have supported life in the past. Telescopes like the Hubble and James Webb have discovered thousands of exoplanets, some located in the habitable zone where liquid water could exist. The discovery of extremophiles, organisms that thrive in Earth's harshest environments, has expanded our understanding of where life could survive, making it more likely that life exists in places once thought uninhabitable. Could the same processes that led to life on Earth be happening elsewhere in the universe? The search for life beyond Earth isn't just about finding other beings. It's also about understanding the nature of life itself and how common or rare it really is in the vast expanse of space. Though life on Earth has evolved into diverse and complex forms, the foundation of all life can be traced back to one group of organisms: microbes. These tiny, often invisible organisms were the first to inhabit Earth, and have been essential in shaping the planet's ecosystems ever since. Microbes were the pioneers, creating the conditions necessary for more complex life forms to emerge. They helped oxygenate the atmosphere, recycle nutrients, and build the soil that plants would later grow in. Even today, microbes play a vital role in sustaining life, from the bacteria in our gut to the microorganisms in the oceans. Without microbes, life as we know it wouldn't exist. Imagine the Earth without these microscopic helpers. There would be no oxygen, no organic matter, and no possibility for complex life to evolve. Microbes are the unsung heroes of life's story, the tiny builders of the world we now. Water, the simple yet essential molecule, is the cornerstone of life on Earth. Without water, life as we know it couldn't exist. In the early stages of Earth's history, when the planet was still cooling and volcanic eruptions were commonplace, water began to accumulate in the form of oceans. These vast bodies of water became the cradle of life, providing the perfect environment for chemical reactions to take place. Water is unique because it can dissolve a wide range of substances, making it an ideal medium for the molecules that eventually formed life's building blocks. It's also an excellent solvent, allowing nutrients and waste to move in and out of cells. From the smallest microbe in the deep ocean to the largest land mammal, every living organism depends on water to survive. Without it, the intricate machinery of life would break down. The role of water in life's origin is a constant reminder of how interconnected all living things are with the environment that sustains them. Despite the vast strides in science, the question of how life began on Earth remains a topic of debate among researchers. While some support the theory of lightning sparking the first organic molecules, others argue for the deep-sea vent theory, proposing that life began in the extreme conditions of the ocean floor. Then there's the panspermia hypothesis, which suggests that life, or at least the building blocks of life, may have originated elsewhere in the universe and arrived on Earth through comets or meteorites. With all these competing theories, the true origin of life remains elusive. Some scientists even argue that life's beginnings might not be a single event, but rather a complex combination of factors that occurred over millions of years. The lack of concrete evidence has led to different interpretations, and the search for answers continues to challenge our understanding. As new discoveries are made, the debate grows, reminding us that the story of life's origin is still being written. As we delve deeper into the origins of life on Earth, we're faced with a fascinating possibility. Is life part of a larger cosmic process? Some scientists speculate that life may not be unique to Earth, but could be a natural outcome of the universe's laws. If life could emerge here under the right conditions, could it also arise on other planets in distant star systems? The discovery of exoplanets in the habitable zone, where liquid water can exist, raises the tantalizing possibility that other worlds may harbor life, or have done so in the past. The idea that life may be widespread throughout the universe challenges our sense of uniqueness. It suggests that life may be an inevitable part of the cosmos, unfolding wherever the conditions are right. This cosmic perspective not only broadens our understanding of life's origins, but also connects us to the greater universe, a universe that may be filled with untold possibilities for life beyond Earth. Was the birth of life on Earth a matter of chance, or was it inevitable? Some scientists argue that life was an inevitable outcome given the right conditions: chemicals, water, energy, and time. Under these circumstances, the formation of complex molecules and eventually life might have been a foregone conclusion. Others, however, believe that life is a rare and improbable event, a unique combination of factors that happened by sheer chance. The randomness of it all suggests that while life might exist elsewhere in the universe, its origins could be vastly different from what we understand. The debate between chance and inevitability brings us face to face with the complexity and unpredictability of life's beginnings. Was it destiny, or did a series of improbable events align perfectly to spark life on Earth? The question continues to spark curiosity and wonder as we search for answers. While we've spent millions of years evolving and adapting to life on Earth, what does the future hold for life as we know it? As the planet faces challenges like climate change, habitat destruction, and resource depletion, life on Earth is once again at a crossroads. Many species are already struggling to adapt, and the future of ecosystems around the globe hangs in the balance. Yet life has shown time and time again that it's remarkably resilient, evolving and finding new ways to survive. Humans, too, are at a pivotal moment, with the power to shape the future of life on Earth like never before. Will we use our knowledge and technology to preserve the delicate balance of life, or will we push ecosystems beyond their breaking point? The future of life on Earth is uncertain, but one thing is clear: it will continue to evolve, adapt, and change, just as it has for billions of years. As stewards of this planet, humans hold a unique responsibility in shaping the future of life on Earth. Our actions have a profound impact on the environment, the species we share it with, and the delicate balance of ecosystems. From pollution to deforestation, overfishing to climate change, our choices are directly affecting the health of the planet. But with this responsibility comes an opportunity to make a positive difference. We can preserve endangered species, restore ecosystems, and take action against climate change. Our technological advancements allow us to work with nature, not against it. The question is, will we act in time to protect the future of life on Earth? Our ability to understand the origins of life now gives us a deeper appreciation of its value. The responsibility to ensure that future generations inherit a healthy planet rests with us, and it's a responsibility we cannot afford to ignore. Despite all we've learned about the origins of life on Earth, the ultimate question still remains. How did life begin? From the spark of lightning to the deep-sea vents, from ancient chemical reactions to the unlikely arrival of life from space, we've explored countless theories and uncovered fascinating insights. Yet the full picture is still out of reach. What we do know is that the search for answers continues. Each new discovery in science brings us closer to understanding how life began, but the mystery remains alive, fueling our curiosity and wonder. The origins of life are not just a scientific question, they are a question about who we are and how we fit into the larger story of the universe. As we continue to explore the mysteries of our existence, we are reminded that the quest for knowledge is never ending. The search for the origins of life is a journey that will inspire us for generations to come. As we reflect on the origins of life and our place in the grand tapestry of the universe, one thing becomes clear. Life is a remarkable and fragile phenomenon. From the first molecules to the complexity of modern life, the journey of life on Earth is a testament to the incredible forces of nature. But we are not alone in this story. We are part of a vast, interconnected universe where life's potential could stretch far beyond the limits of our planet. The search for life elsewhere, the exploration of distant planets, and the discovery of new forms of life on Earth remind us that we are just one piece in the puzzle of the universe. Our curiosity, our drive to understand, and our desire to explore reflect the wonder and mystery that have always been a part of the human spirit. As we continue our journey through the cosmos, we are reminded that we are all part of a much larger story, one that has just begun to unfold. Now that we've explored the incredible journey of life on Earth, we encourage you to keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and keep exploring. Whether it's through science, technology, or even the arts, the quest to understand life's origins and our place in the universe has only just begun. We all have a part to play in this ongoing story, whether it's by studying the mysteries of life on our planet, exploring new frontiers in space, or making conscious choices to protect the life around us. The more we understand, the more we can appreciate the fragile beauty of life and the responsibility we have to preserve it for future generations. So, never stop wondering. Never stop searching. The mysteries of life are out there, waiting to be discovered, and it's up to all of us to continue the exploration. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through the origins of life on Earth. We hope you've been inspired to think deeply about the mystery of life and our place in the universe. A special thanks to the brilliant minds whose research and discoveries have shaped our understanding of life's beginnings, and to all the scientists, researchers, and explorers pushing the boundaries of knowledge. This exploration doesn't end here. Every question answered leads to new mysteries to uncover. So stay curious, keep asking, and never stop seeking the truth. Together, we'll continue to discover, understand, and protect the life that makes this planet so extraordinary. Until next time, thank you for being part of the adventure. To accompany the exploration of life's origins, the audio and sound design should evoke a sense of wonder and mystery. Throughout the script, the music should shift with the tone uplifting and hopeful during moments of discovery, deep and introspective during philosophical reflections, and dramatic during moments of scientific revelation. The soundtrack should enhance the sense of awe, creating an atmosphere where the audience feels the gravity of the questions being asked. During moments of intensity, like when discussing the Great Oxygenation Event or the Cambrian explosion, the music should swell, adding weight to the information. During reflective or concluding moments, soft, ambient music should guide the audience toward a sense of peace and contemplation. The sound design should include subtle atmospheric effects, like the hum of space or the distant rumble of volcanic eruptions, to immerse the audience fully into each scene. To enhance the storytelling experience, each section should be paired with visuals that reinforce the themes being explored. For the opening, use a sweeping shot of the cosmos, zooming in on Earth as it forms from cosmic dust and gases, illustrating the early, fiery beginnings of our planet. During discussions of the Miller U-ray experiment, show an animated sequence of lightning striking a primordial Earth, creating organic molecules. For the deep-sea vents theory, use dark, mysterious underwater scenes featuring hydrothermal vents, with glowing minerals and microorganisms beginning to form. When discussing the evolution of life, visuals should showcase the slow progression from single-celled organisms to multicellular life, eventually leading to the Cambrian explosion, bursting with a diverse array of marine life. For human evolution, use animated visuals that show the progression from early hominids to modern humans, with emphasis on the development of the brain and tools. The final visuals should bring together all the themes of the story, showing Earth as it is today, teeming with life, and ending with a shot of the stars, suggesting that our exploration of life's origins is far from over. To keep the audience engaged, it's important that the pacing of the script aligns with the flow of the visuals and the overall mood of the video. Each section should be concise, but rich with information, striking a balance between scientific detail and emotional storytelling. Begin with a captivating introduction that draws the viewer in, setting the tone for the exploration to follow. As the video progresses, the pacing should vary, speeding up during the explanations of events like the Cambrian explosion or the rise of dinosaurs, where rapid diversification occurred, and slowing down during more philosophical reflections, like the debate about chance versus inevitability. Each major section, such as the transition to multicellular life or the search for life elsewhere, should last around 2 to 3 minutes, giving enough time to digest key concepts while maintaining momentum. In moments of tension, like discussing the extinction events or the challenges life faces today, slow the pacing slightly to give the audience time to reflect on the gravity of these events. The video should be balanced in terms of energy and tone, ensuring that each transition feels natural, leading the viewer from one discovery to the next, while maintaining a steady sense of intrigue and engagement. Before finalizing the script, it's important to review every section to ensure that the message is clear, engaging, and consistent throughout. Double-check the scientific accuracy of the information, making sure each fact is well-researched and presented in a way that is accessible to the audience. Ensure the tone remains consistent, shifting between informative, awe-inspiring, and reflective as appropriate, while still maintaining a sense of curiosity and wonder. Review the transitions between sections to ensure smooth flow from one topic to the next, avoiding abrupt changes in pace. Finally, verify that the call to action and ethical considerations resonate with the audience, leaving them with a sense of responsibility and motivation to explore further. The goal is to inspire ongoing curiosity and respect for life's incredible journey, from its mysterious beginnings to its ongoing evolution. Once everything aligns, make any necessary revisions to tighten the script and ensure it captures the full depth of the story in a way that is engaging, thought-provoking, and memorable.